This is a lecture from Open Tuition. For the free lecture notes that go with this podcast, please visit opentuition.com. Alright, two more things I'm afraid, and then I can let you have a think and go through some. First of all, something that I must admit's unlikely, but he could throw it in, and so I've got to check. But the effect of Modigliani and Miller? Without having all the chat we had before, I've typed up a summary. At the moment, this company, for example, shareholders want 18.8. Debt actually wanted 12, but the cost to the company is low because of tax, is 8.4. Tell me, please, and it should be obvious, why are you not surprised the cost of debt is less than the cost of equity? Why? There are two reasons. Perhaps I said it too fast. Why are you not surprised that the cost of debt at 8.4 is less than the cost of equity at 18.8? Why would you expect the cost of debt to be less than the cost of equity? Yeah, there are two reasons, surely. One, I've effectively already said, is that debt gets tax relief and equity doesn't. You know, investors actually wanted, what was it, 12%, but of course because the company gets tax relief, the cost is even lower. The other reason, though, you know, why do investors only want 12 when from equity they want 18? It's because it's less risky. The shares are more risky. And the more risk there is, the higher return shareholders will want. You agree? All right, second question. What is it that makes the shares more risky? Again, there are two things. What makes shares more risky? Why are shares in a company more risky? All right, I'll tell you. There are two reasons again. The reason a share's risky, well, I'll write it down because it's so important. The risk in a share, it's partly due to the type of business. Some businesses are inherently more risky than others. The more risky the business, the more risky the share, and the higher return shareholders would want. But the other thing that makes a share potentially more risky is the level of gearing. You've had enough times that the more highly geared a company is, the more risky a share becomes. And again, the more risky the share is, the higher the return they'd require. Would you agree? Well, as I started to say a few moments ago, Modigliani and Miller, if you remember, they investigated the effect of gearing on the shareholders. That as you change the gearing in a company, the share becomes more or less risky, depending on whether the gearing goes up or down. And Modigliani and Miller, we can predict, we can calculate the effect it will have on the cost of equity. And so, as I said, this, to be honest, is rare. But he has asked it, he could ask it. Let me give you a quick sheet on Modigliani and Miller. I'm not going to read all the wording to you. We had it before, you can read that yourself, a brief summary. But that formula there is given on the formula sheet. And as I said, although it is unlikely, he could require it, that it will tell you how the cost of equity will change for any level of gearing. And to remind you how it works, again, I'll start it and you can finish it. Look at that example. A is currently financed 8 million from equity and 4 million from debt. The cost of equity is currently 20%. They're going to raise more debt and the gearing ratio is going to change. And it wants to know what's the current weighted average and what's the new weighted average. All right? Well, as I say, I'll start it, you finish it. First of all, the current weighted average. We need cost of equity, cost of debt individually. Well, cost of equity, I've kept this as short as I can. If he was doing it, you'd probably have to calculate it using dividend growth model or betas. But here I've told you the cost of equity currently is 20%. Cost of debt, again, most likely in the exam, you'd have to calculate it using internal rate of return. But look what I've done here. And look for this, he's used these words, I think, twice. He's told you the risk-free rate is 4%. And I said before, if there was no information at all, you'd be forced to assume debt lenders, that it was risk-free, and debt lenders wanted 4%. You agree? However, it says later, default risk premium is 2%. And what he means, and learn the words, in real life, debt is never completely risk-free. I think you'd agree. And the reason it's never completely risk-free is, although, of course, your interest is fixed each year, in that sense, no risk. But the risk exists that the company might default and they might not pay the interest. You agree? And so when it says a default risk premium, it means that debt lenders want 2% more than risk-free. And so debt lenders actually want 6%. You're all with me there? However, why won't the cost of the company be 6%, please? Because of tax, yeah. Yeah, debt lenders, remember, you assume they want risk-free, 4%, plus any mention of default risk premium. So debt lenders want 6. The company, though, gets tax relief at 25%. And so the cost to the company is 4.5. The weighted average, weight by market values, so equity, debt. We know the costs are 20, 4.5. The market values, equities 8 million, debts 4 million. 8/12 of 20, 4/12 of 4.5. The current weighted average, 14.83. Everybody clear there? All right, well, there's current weighted average. However, they also want the new weighted average. And here's where I'll start you and you can finish it. Surely two problems. First of all, the new weighted average is clearly going to change because this company is raising more debt. The gearing ratio is going to change. And so obviously the ratio of debt to equity changes. The weighted average would change. You agree? The other reason, though, is if they're increasing the gearing as they are here, the cost of equity is going to change. If it's more highly geared, shareholders will want a higher return. And Modigliani and Miller give us the formula that'll let us work out the new cost of equity. All right? So is everybody with me? We're going to have to work out the new cost of equity with different gearing. When you've got a new cost of equity, then you can use the new gearing to work out a new weighted average. Clear? Well, there is the formula, but we have a little problem. If I write the formula down, KE is KEI plus 1 minus T, KEI minus KD, VD over VE. I'm not going to write down what the symbols mean. I'll remind you as we do this question. But what it'll give you is the cost of equity for any level of gearing. So this will give us the figure we want, cost of equity. But the slight problem is it depends on KEI. Well, KEI is the cost of equity if there was no gearing. The rest of the formula, I said I wouldn't write all the symbols down, but I don't actually need to write all of them, but T is obviously the tax rate. KEI I've already defined. KD is the return to the debt lenders. The last bit though, VD over VE, these are the market values of debt and equity. Well, the slight problem we've got, we want to know the new cost of equity with the new gearing. You agree? To be able, though, to use the formula, we need to know what the cost of equity would be if there was no gearing at all. Well, we know what the cost of equity is at the moment. I've walked away. Was it 20% at the moment? Hello? But of course, at the moment, there already is some gearing. So we're going to have to use that formula twice. We're going to have to use that formula, first of all, on current gearing to work out what cost of equity would be if there was none. Once we've got that figure, then we can use it with the new gearing to work out the new cost of equity. Let me show you what I mean. Currently, tell me, please, what's the cost of equity at the moment? What's the cost of equity for this question? 20%. It'll be equal to the cost of equity if there's no gearing, which we need to find out, plus, well, 1 minus T. T's the tax rate. Tax is 25%, so that's 0.75. That's no problem. Times KEI, which is what we're trying to find out, minus KD. What's KD, please, for this question? Be careful. No, nearly. It's 6. Do be careful. KD always is the return to investors. Cost to the company will always be less the tax rate. So the actual return to investors, it was 6, wasn't it? Risk-free plus the premium. Times VD over VE. Well, the current cost of equity depends on the current gearing. And the current gearing, debt is 4 million. Equity is 8 million. And so now, of course, it's a little bit of algebra. Check me, but 20 is KEI plus 0.75 times KEI times 4 over 8, which I think is 0.375 KEI minus 0.75 times 6 times 4 over 8, 2.25. Again, check my arithmetic, but I think I'm right. Now please, I'm very conscious I'm talking a lot and I'm sorry, but it's because there are so many bits to cost of capital. I can't sort of stop in the middle and give you part of a question. You with me? But on these sheets is just about everything you're going to need for the arithmetic on cost of capital. Is everybody clear what I've done there? And we appreciate what we've calculated. That's the cost of equity if there was no gearing. And surely the answer is sensible. At the moment we are geared and it's 20%. If there was no gearing, the share is less risky, the cost of equity would be lower. The answer is lower. Doesn't prove it's right, but obviously it is sensible. However, the reason we needed it is that we want to know the new weighted average with the new gearing. To do that, we need to know the new cost of equity with the new gearing. And so now, you're going to do it, I'll start you, but we can work out the new position. I'll say, I'll start you, and then I'll shut up and see how we get on. The new cost of equity will depend on the new gearing. And what is the new gearing ratio? Here, instead of telling us the actual market values, you know, that the new gearing is 10 million, 8 million or something, it doesn't matter. They've given us the ratio, debt to equity. So surely if equity is 100, the debt is 80. And for the formula, all we need is the ratio. The exact market values aren't necessary. I hope you see what I mean. Well, given that there's the new gearing ratio, could you please use the formula and work out the new cost of equity? Check with the screen, but when you've got the new cost of equity, can you then work out the new weighted average? Which then should be easy. Okay, I think that's right. I said before, that is less likely. But he could do it. And he'd help you through it. I keep saying I want to get through all the little bits. And then if I've got several questions to get used to the way it could be worded. He could do it. I think he'd make it fairly obvious if you needed this. But I hope it's clear what I've done. If he wants to know cost of equity as gearing changes, it's simply using that formula. But, as I hope is clear here, potentially having to go backwards and then forwards, ungear and then gear. All right?